This is Defender Radio. Welcome to Defender Radio, the podcast for wildlife advocates and animal lovers. The next regular episode will be available January 8th, 2018, featuring animal justice and their new podcast, Paw and Order. To wrap up 2017, I wrote an essay, or more appropriately, a rant, and I wanted to share it with all of you. How do you grow hope in the world? That's the question that rattled around in my mind in these final days of 2017. I've worked very hard to ignore it, watching movies, playing video games, cuddling dogs, drinking whiskey, watching the snow fall, spending time with my wife and family, and actively trying not to think. Simply put, I feared that I can't answer the question. Trying to ignore it isn't, of course, a helpful or healthy strategy. But when I did spend some time traveling back through my notes and blogs and news articles from the last year, I found it hard to not want to hide away. Beavers, raccoons, and an otter injured and tortured in potentially illegal traps in British Columbia are quick to come to mind, with the gruesome images as clear today as they were in the spring of 2017. It's these moments that I can't shake. The fear in the eyes of a raccoon kit in Ontario who survived extreme burns but later died in a rehab facility. The limp of an injured bear cub dubbed Russell by locals outside of Calgary who the government refuses to help or allow anyone else to help. And the last horrifying moments of wolves killed by government-approved poisons, even as they know it will be a cruel death and killing them won't solve any problems. It's hard some days to be an animal advocate. We're surrounded by Canada Goose jackets, read news of court cases to protect wildlife going awry, and hear the whimpers of animals in tiny cages, raised and killed for a commodity no one needs. But the hardship around us doesn't stop there. Families are being torn apart by a bully with Twitter, who's more interested in ratings and picking a fight with another dictator than protecting those he's supposed to protect. Wildfires and cataclysmic hurricanes and collapsing glaciers are a sign of a threat that too many people don't believe exist. And every day there is hunger, coldness, and fear when we have the power and resources to bring it to an end. How, in all of this, are we supposed to be hopeful and fight for the animals who have no voice? At one time in my life, I believed it meant being as hard as the things we witness and stand against. But that just creates more coldness in the world. What we need is the opposite. Love. Big surprise, right? The vegan animal advocate preaching love to conquer hate. It's a trope, and a rather bland one at that. But maybe we should take a moment, anyway, to examine what we mean by love, and how it's already helping to create change. Over 200 grizzly bears will not be shot and killed by hunters, local and foreign, in British Columbia in 2018. The young NDP government made the announcement that all non-First Nations hunting of grizzlies would end, citing overwhelming societal attitudes. Science, ethics, and a glimpse into who the bears are brought together passionate people from all socio-demographic categories to make this change happen. Black bears, beavers, and coyotes are living happy lives in communities across Canada because of the kindness of residents and local leaders who believe in coexistence. The fur bears worked with municipalities and community leaders in British Columbia, Alberta, and Ontario to provide educational materials, on-site solutions and mitigation measures, and volunteers to end or prevent conflict. This kindness for the wildlife with whom we share our communities created change. Michael Kors, Jimmy Choo, Hugo Boss, Yuke's Net-a-Porter, and Gucci made commitments to go fur-free with our partners at the Fur-Free Alliance. Croatia officially banned fur farming, and Japan's last mink farm closed. Compassion for the animals by millions of people around the world, all of whom refused to buy fur from these companies, and in many cases, wrote, called, protested, or emailed, created the change that will save millions of lives. These are three quick examples of how change was created in 2017, through components of love, passion, kindness, and compassion. That's just in our little corner of animal advocacy, too. Consider for a moment the bravery of women who have come forward against sexual predators, the heroics of those who have faced natural disasters to protect and rescue others, and the countless thousands of hours spent by nurses, doctors, teachers, parents, volunteers, and anyone else who offered even a single moment of their year being kind to a stranger. Love isn't some faraway Beatles song. It's a very real part of our daily lives that we can cultivate, hold, and spread around the world. Even in the face of all the horrible things, especially in the face of all the horrible things, we must show the world that compassion, kindness, fairness, humor, joy, and love are real. We must acknowledge that anger, hate, greed, and fear are real too, and that turning those emotions loose within ourselves or against those who are cruel won't stop them, only turn us into what we stand against. For a week, I tried to hide from a question I feared I couldn't answer. And today, watching more nerdy television, drinking coffee, and petting a 60-pound lapdog while wearing pajamas too late into the day, I realized I was doing what I always advocate against. I was letting the fear and obscurity of the future overwhelm me. That just won't do. I'm not making resolutions for 2018. I'm making promises to myself, to you, and to the animals. I will not let fear make me cruel or cowardly. It will make me kind. I will rest when I am weary so I can stand for the animals when I'm needed. I will not destroy what I hate, but save what I love. I will try to be nice, but always be kind. I will lead with compassion and never apologize for it. And as long as I breathe, I will always hope. Some of those may sound familiar to my fellow nerds, and that's okay. I draw inspiration from literature and other great writing. You may find it in faith, your experiences, or the stars. What matters is that we know the answer to the question that plagued me. How do you grow hope in the world? By having it. I'm Michael Howie for Defender Radio and the Fur Bears, wishing you and your family a happy and safe New Year.